Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Kavinsky's Tutorials. Today I'm going to do a walkthrough of Walls by Klevgrand. So this has been out for desktop for a while. It just came out for iPad and it's only $6 on the intro price for iPad. I think it's really reasonable. You'll find links and stuff in the pinned comment of this video. Also, Klevgrand are sponsoring this video. I really appreciate the support. Thank you, Klevgrand. I only accept doing sponsored videos on apps that I actually like. I turn down quite a few sponsored video offers because I just don't like the apps enough. So don't think that a video being sponsored biases my opinion or anything. But I do really like this app, and it's very different from Revolve, which was their last reverb, which I did a video on here on the channel when it came out, which I've been using a lot. If you watch my channel, you'll have seen this constantly in my videos. But Walls is very different because Revolve is using impulse responses recorded in various different famous locations, generally around Sweden. But Walls is basically, I think, it's got two main aspects to it. One, it can be a bread and butter reverb. You know, you have hall algorithms and room algorithms and so on in here, plate reverb, and you've got a few different things. But it can also be very experimental and really nice to modulate some of the controls. The modulation in here, for example, is a lot more intense than most reverb apps, and you can do things with this that you can get sounds with this that you couldn't really get with the average reverb. So I've got a session here with a whole bunch of different inputs that I'm going to use to demo things. So I'm not going to, try and demo all the algorithms or everything right at the start. I'll demo different things as we go through the session. So first thing here then, let's just turn this up a little bit. And if you take a look at the UI, you can see it's very simple UI. Pre-delay amount here. Here we can set the size and decay for the reverb by dragging, and we see this will look different when you choose different models. Over here, we flick through these different models. So we had spring, now plate, hall, cosmic, hex. This one can be really, really cool and really experimental. It's very dialed down here, especially because of the way the filters and things are set. So I'm not going to use this preset to demo those. So let's just demo a couple of things here. I think I'll leave the size being modulated for these spring ones, at least it's nice. I'm going to take that modulation. The modulation, no, that's for a different thing. Let's take this off, that's the modulation. Okay, plate. Let's get a hall example. Room. So we got different controls down here. Filter can be low pass or low shelf, high pass or high shelf. Very easy to adjust, just drag here. Width. Again, just drag. Diffusion and damping. I like this one. So this algorithm here, binary, this is kind of lo-fi reverb, not supposed to be very realistic, but it can be very resonant at times. Now I'm gonna let you hear one in a minute that I think you're gonna really love. This one here. So listen to this over time. Do you hear that beautiful drone in the background? It starts to get almost organ-like. So what I'm going to do here is bring down the dry completely and just have the wet. And we play around with things a little bit. It's just a beautiful drone. Listen to that. Now here we've got no modulation. Let's bring in a little bit of modulation. Oops. And I'm going to let you hear the different algorithms. So we're on Hall at the moment. Let's go this direction. Now, by the way, we also have a mix lock here, so you can lock the mix and go through presets and just keep everything fully wet if you want. Each of these really has its own flavor. Take that decay down a second. Let's bring that up now. When you switch from one algorithm to another, you might get these sounds caused by the sounds created by the transition starting to reverberate. Now, one thing I do wish, here you can only cycle through these. You can't tap to select one, and I find that pretty annoying. Very weird choice. Don't know, maybe something can be done. I'd like to tap here and select them from a drop down or something. And so, damping. Let's put that, take the damping off. So when it's all the way to the right, there's no damping. Play with diffusion. Beautiful. Let's just let that fade out. Nice. Let me go on to another example. Okay, so here I've got Koala playing a little vocal sample. Actually, two sequenced vocal samples. And so here I've got Walls on one of the Hall algorithm. So on the Hall algorithm setting, auditorium preset. So let's jump through a few things here. So we go through a few different plates. That's really nice. Cathedral. I love this one. So let me play with the damping a little bit. That noise, by the way, is a plane flying in the background. That's not from the reverb. So diffusion, we'll notice more on the early reflections, so we can change the balance of early and late reflections here. Let's bring the wet up a little bit there. On the late reflections, damping will have more noticeable effect, as that's something that happens over time, taking out the high frequencies over time. That's nice. The modulation ones sound really cool on this vocal. Let's try a couple of esoteric presets. So quite heavy filtering here. Let's just leave it at that for a minute. Let's just change these reflections to early, emphasize the early reflections. So let me just bypass this for a second. So that's the input. And this is with walls now. This is with 0 diffusion. Diffusion at 100. You really hear the diffusion on this one. Let's try these modulation ones. So you can do really crazy vibrato effects. So play with the modulation down here. It's just an XY pad for depth and rate. I love this one. I'm going to let you hear something really cool using this preset, modified a little bit in a minute. So let me let you hear this. So this is the input. So here I've got fundamental, some sine waves going into Blease slow machine here, which is pitching everything down and bringing in this little rhythmic effect, but I haven't got it fully wet. So we're still hearing that higher pitched input as well. And now walls here, just tweaked this out of sync preset. And I got the wet and dry up full both. And that's adding a lot, I think. So that's the dry. And this is bringing in walls. So let's see, we're on the early reflections here. Let's try diffusion. So you can hear the big difference there with the diffusion up high. I prefer it with zero diffusion. So if we have this only on the late reflections, we won't really hear diffusion making that much of a difference. Let's jump to another example. So here, El Piano. This is absolutely beautiful, and I've been loving this as well. So here, this is pretty radical what Walls is about to do here. So this is the hex algorithm getting really crazy. So this can do stuff that's a bit more like a delay. So the reflection setting can make a huge difference on this one. Let's change it to emphasize late. And you see we've almost lost all of that interest in the kind of bouncing, twinkling balls effect. And the pre-delay here will make a really huge difference. So here, right from the start of the notes, we're getting the reverb coming in here. We can hear the input audio a little bit before the reverb starts kicking in. Another example here. So here I've got loop mix, doing a little varying percussion loop, and Klevgrand Skaka doing this tambourine. And here we've got Walls. So here we got hi-fi spring. So let me show you here, like for example, on the pre-delay here, if I bring this up, lengthen this, it's become almost like a sort of dubby delay. And we can enhance that more by just emphasizing the early reflections. Let's jump through a few presets for different algorithms on this percussive input. Go to some of the big ones. That's nice. Nice. Play with the pre-delay there, and the early and late reflections. See the modulation's pretty high on this one as well. jump on to the last example. If you're finding the video useful, everybody, please smash the like. So here I actually set up a little XY pad, which is modulating the wall's size and decay. So up here we got full size and full decay. Here we got full size and the shortest decay. Here they're both short. Here we got long decay and small size. So this is what it sounds like without walls. This is the input Klevgrand Slammer being sequenced by Waymaker over here, which I did a video on too. Great sequencer. So walls, you can see here, huge difference, look. That's with emphasizing the late reflections here. This emphasizing the early. I like this with the emphasis on the late ones. Now again, fairly heavy filtering over here. Let's see. I think let's keep it at something like that. And then here, I'm just using the transient shaper in here to accentuate the attack a bit. Clipper for a bit of loudness. So pretty experimental really what we can do with this. I think it's very interesting, easy to use little reverb, very intuitive, enjoyable to use, and can definitely get pretty experimental, so ticks quite a few boxes for me. Hope you enjoyed the video, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.